No, ¿sabes que podemos usarlos de mano? Espérate, preguntémosle al ministro. No es necesario, solo los de mano. Good morning. Before we begin, we kindly ask you to silence your electronic devices to avoid interruptions during this activity. Welcome to Universidad EAFIT and to the conference Ireland and Colombia, Forging a Stronger Relationship in a Post-Brexit Era, an event organized by the International Relations Office with the collaboration of Ireland's diplomatic mission in Colombia. Today, we celebrate the strengthening of the relations between Colombia and Ireland, the recent establishment of the diplomatic missions in both countries, the bilateral cooperation projects in education, agriculture, post-conflict, among others. Today, we especially celebrate the presence of Ireland in our university, an institution that has been open to the world with strong ties to European countries. We welcome the diplomatic delegation conformed by His Excellency Mr. Pat Breen, the Minister for Trade, Employment, Business, EU Digital Single Market and Data Protection, Her Excellency Ms. Alison Milton, Ambassador of Ireland in Colombia, Her Excellency Ms. Patricia Cortez, Ambassador of Colombia in Ireland, Mr. Maurice Nolan, Ireland's Consul in Colombia, Ms. Sinead Ryan, the Minister's Private Secretary, and Daniel Peña, the delegate from the Colombian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Welcome to all the directives, professors, students, and general public that are joining us today in this auditorium, and to all of those who are following us through the university's channel EnVIVO. We invite Mr. Pat Breen to the podium for the conference Ireland and Colombia Forging a Stronger Relationship in a Post-Brexit Era. After the keynote, we will have a panel with the minister and the ambassadors with an open space for the audience questions. Minister Breen was appointed Minister for Trade, Employment, Business, and European Union Digital Single Market and Data Protection on the 20th June 2017, having previously served as Minister for Employment and Small Businesses since the 19th May 2016. The minister was first elected to Dáil Éireann in 2002, and he has successfully retained his seat in each subsequent election in 2007, 2011, and 2016. In the last Dáil, Minister Breen served as chairman of the joint OIRCHAT's Committee of Foreign Affairs and Trade from 22nd June 2011 to 3rd February 2016. The minister has also served as chairman of the Dáil Subcommittee of Overseas Development from 2010 to 2011. Prior to his party being in government, Minister Breen served in various portfolios for Fine Gael and was his party's deputy spokesperson on foreign affairs with responsibility for human rights and overseas development from 2007 to 2011. Minister Breen was a member of the Council of Europe from 24 January 2005 to 24 January 2011 and deputy leader of the Irish delegation. He was a member of key committees, including monitor the obligations on commitments of member states, development and economic affairs, and overseeing relations with non-member countries. Minister Breen was appointed rapporteur for the Council of Europe on a report entitled The European Civil Aviation Industry Confronted with the Global Financial and Economic Crisis, which undertook in a depth analysis of the effects that the global financial crisis had on the European civil aviation industry. Prior to Minister Breen's election to Dáil Éireann, he was a member of the Clare County Council and the Vocational Educational Committee from June 1999 to 2002. So, Minister, please welcome to our university. We have an applause for him. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you very much, Marie-Therese, for that kind introduction. Some of those are so long ago, I forget where I was back in '99. But it's been a great journey, and I want to thank all of you for turning out in such great numbers this morning to welcome me to Medellin and also to Etiafit University, a very, I suppose, distinguished university here in Medellin. So I am delighted, ladies and gentlemen, students, I'm delighted to be here in the city of eternal spring. It's a real pleasure for me to be here and to discover Medellin. And I'm extremely impressed so far with the bustling centre of industry and commerce I've seen for myself over the last year or so. Let me tell you, first of all, why I'm here in Colombia. I'm here in Colombia, first of all, because we have just opened our first resident embassy here in Bogota. I was also here to celebrate our national feast day, the feast of St. Patrick. It's a time of celebration in Ireland for all of us with Irish descent and affinity all over the world when we reach out to global audiences throughout the world. We celebrate Ireland's contribution to the wider world and the positive impact we have on global connections in our country. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a unique day for us to celebrate this day, and a day that we, as I said, celebrate in all countries. And I suppose it's one of the best national days in the world. Only on Monday last, nearly 300 to 400 people marched in the St. Patrick's Day parade in Bogota. And I can say that nearly 80–90% of those people were from Colombia. Could I say also it's a unique opportunity for us to highlight the kind of global Ireland that we want to live in 2019 and beyond that, because we certainly, as a government, we must plan for the future. We want to be an island of the world, a country with a very talented country, with a young workforce, in fact, the youngest population in Europe, and of course, the most productive in the planet, as designated by the OECD last month. Can I say to you all, in these challenging times, Ireland, small open economy, our commitment is to be at the heart of Europe, to be part of Europe, because Europe has been really good to Ireland since we joined in 1973. Our membership of the European Union is remarkable. In a recent opinion poll, 92% of the Irish population wanted to stay within the European Union. I think that's really important. We have a very competitive tax system with a corporate tax rate of 12.5%, and of course a gateway to the world's most advanced single market, which even after Brexit and when Britain leaves the European Union, we will still be the home of 450 million people. Can I say to all of you this morning, there's great reasons for people to do business in Ireland. That's why we have nearly 1,400 foreign-owned companies, and they have a presence in Ireland. We have all of the top 10 global pharmaceutical companies in Ireland, 9 of the top 10 technological companies. And the reason for this is, we can see for ourselves, is because Ireland is a very innovative country. That's why we have so many innovative indigenous companies. Because we want Colombia to be part of this. We want them to examine the opportunities in Europe. And for the first time ever, we want to see some Colombian companies choose Ireland as they tiptoe into Europe. But of course, as I've said, trade is a two-way relationship. Since my arrival here, I've seen the phenomenon success of some Irish companies in Colombia. Companies, brand names that you know well. Companies like Smurfit Kappa, who are really committed, an Irish company that are committed to growing their presence here in Colombia and here in this region of Medellin as well. We've also seen Viva Air, which is owned by an Irish entrepreneur who founded the great Irish airline, which is one of the world's biggest airlines, Brexit. So, ladies and gentlemen, we can sincerely do a lot more in other areas that we are expert in. Take, for instance, agri-tech, which is really important to us, and the food and drink industry. I mentioned the word Brexit because Brexit impacts on all of us, particularly in Europe. I suppose it impacts more on us in Ireland than any other of our European colleagues because of our close ties between our two countries. Those ties are really strong at the moment. And we want to continue for those ties to be stronger in the future, even though the economic ties will be challenged by Brexit if Britain decides to leave without a deal and tariffs and duties are imposed. But ladies and gentlemen, can I say to you all out there, students, we remain confident that Ireland, that our economy is resilient and that the appropriate fiscal policies that we have are in place will help us to adjust to the economic effects of Brexit. I've said that we're fully committed to our membership of the European Union and remains, I suppose, central to the success of our open and competitive economy and has been the foundation for such economic and social progress that we have made since our membership over 40 years ago. We will be the only English-speaking country in the European Union after Britain exits the European Union. That means we have access to the EU's huge single market and, of course, to the Eurozone. We have a well-educated population and we are committed, business-friendly environment. I think that's what makes us so attractive for foreign direct investment. And I can say this to you because small businesses, large businesses, they all have a very important role to play in our country. And this will not change after Brexit. This will continue, those important areas of Ireland being a good place to do business. Ireland has been, I suppose, very active in developing a policy responses to the challenges that we face with industry and with enterprise in the coming years. This includes action for further development on our industrial competitiveness, to address the structural issues, and to improve productivity growth in alignment with the EU industrial policy. We have made extensive links with our diaspora worldwide and our alumni. Our education system has a long history of international engagement and is globally engaged, and that's why we are here this morning in this world-famous university in Medellin. Not alone does internationalization of education brings direct financial benefit, but it also creates links to our relationship between Ireland and many partners at individual and institutional and country level that will bring further engagement and economic activity to the future. Today, can I say to you that our international students, US students, are the leaders of tomorrow. You will be leaders in your country. Some of you will start off your own businesses. Some of you will be entrepreneurs. Some of you will be politicians. Some of you will be investors. And by bringing students like yourselves to Ireland to study, we have the opportunity to influence students' futures by demonstrating that Ireland can be a great place to invest and, of course, to do business. And I hope that some of you here today will consider studying abroad and you choose Ireland as a place to study. As trade minister, I've travelled all over the world. And being all over the world to me as a minister, as a politician, has given me great experience and great insight into other countries. And at the same time, I can bring those experiences back to Ireland. Creative industry is really important. Something that Ireland we want to share with Colombia. It's the pride as a country that we take in creativity and the contribution that creative industries make to our society and to our economies. One major example of this, students, is the film industry. Some of you may not think that Ireland has a big film industry, but it has. The island of Ireland has been the backdrop of many countless moments in the great Hollywood silver screens, including Star Wars, The Quiet Man, which is a movie that was made in the 60s with John Wayne and Maureen O'Hara, Braveheart, you'll all know, with Mel Gibson, and of course the famous film of World War II, Saving Private Ryan, and of course some of the Harry Potter series were made in Ireland as well. And Variety magazine has dubbed Ireland the capital of filmmaking and one of the world's most attractive production environments in recent years. The audiovisual content production sector in Ireland is estimated to be worth 550 million euros, directly employing nearly 7,500 people on a full-time basis. In fact, if you look at Netflix, and areas like that, which is the future, many of the major Netflix series are made in Ireland, made at a studio near my own homeland, Troy Studios in Limerick. As I said to you, the media sector supports approximately 15,000 jobs with the 7,500, thanks to its multiplier effect. And the calibre of the output of the sector is truly for me and truly for our government and truly for our ambassadors here, a source of national pride. Irish films have received tremendous recognition across the globe, scoring nearly in every international awards possible, including the Academy Awards, films like Room, Once, the BAFTA Awards. In 2018, Ireland renewed and updated its national policy considering recent global developments. The recent Enterprise 2025 renewed places an emphasis on embedding resilience in our economy and our economic base and strengthening innovation and talent and, of course, enhancing productivity. And that's really important because that delivers quality jobs. It seeks Ireland to be a forefront of disruptive technologies, embedding innovation, raising international visibility and embracing digital transformation. It highlights the critical importance of increasing state investment in R&D investment, infrastructure and people. On the 10th of March the government launched the Future of Jobs initiative, a new multi-annual framework to ensure that our enterprises and workers are resilient and be prepared for the future challenges and opportunities. It's said that the children born today will be working in jobs that haven't yet been invented. That's the change, the challenges that will come. We're looking at some universities in Dublin at the moment, computer science courses, where the third and fourth year of that course hasn't been invented yet. Such is the change, the pace that's coming in digital technologies. As a country, we are prepared for that. For us in government, this is a whole of government approach, which will form a key part of Ireland's economic agenda over the medium term. Future Jobs Ireland focuses on 5 pillars, namely, embracing innovation, because those that don't embrace innovation will evaporate. Embracing technological change, which, as I said, is happening so quickly. Improving SME productivity, because small to medium enterprises are really important for every country. And of course, enhancing skills and developing and attracting talent even from outside the country. Increasing participation of the labour force so that we're an inclusive society. And transiting to a low-carbon economy, which is very much part of our focus at the moment. Each pillar sets high targets for 2025. Overall, Future Jobs Ireland 2019 includes 26 meaningful and impactful ambitions supported by 127 deliveries for completion in 2019. Let me turn briefly to international education. As Ireland is one of the most globalised countries in the world, we compete successfully on the basis of highly educated and talented workforce. Ireland's worthwhile reputation for high-quality education is to build upon a commitment of excellence. Our people are renowned for their attributes such as innovation, the creativity that I spoke about, and what's really important in today's challenging world, the whole area of collaboration, people working together. We are an English-speaking member of the European Union, and I think that's extremely important, and have, I suppose, won many awards over in time. I mentioned there earlier, I singled out the importance of the film industry in Ireland. I wanted to give it a special mention for one good reason. The reason I'm doing that is because Ireland will participate in Eurocine Film Festival this year. We are a special guest at this festival. The festival will take place in cities all across Colombia, including Medellin. And that'll be on between the 15th to the 20th of May. And I hope some of you up there and down there will be able to attend this film festival. I know the embassy in Colombia is working hard to get a good Irish film star or director into that festival of international, has a strong international reputation. I probably put you in a hold now because be under pressure, Ambassador, to ensure we bring that person to Medellin. So I hope that the Irish films in the film festival might inspire all of you to visit Ireland, because tourism is so important to Ireland. We're an island of 5 million people. We attract in 11 million tourists into Ireland every year. And that has played a very important part in our tourism industry. We're an island that's rich in the arts, the tradition of arts. We're rich in culture. And of course, we have a vibrant cultural agenda. Some of you that come over the summer will see Ireland playing a most important part in some of the most leading art festivals in Europe, many taking place in magical settings with opportunities for unique collaborations and intimate encounters between the audience and the artists. Visitors can also experience the unique landscape in Ireland, whether you opt to go the wild Atlantic way, which is the west coast of Ireland, to see some of the beautiful coastline and the wild Atlantic Ocean, or maybe you'd prefer to see some parts of Ireland, ancient East, with its castles and its monasteries, still there after hundreds of years. So, ladies and gentlemen, students, you are the leaders of the future. I want you to come to Ireland very soon. We'll make it easier for you, let me tell you. We will make it easier for you. We're going to work on the issues that have been raised to me, both to Ambassador Cortes and to Ambassador Milton here during the last 4 days here, particularly in relation to visas. We will work on that issue to ensure that we will make it easier for you to travel to Ireland. And I want this, when you do visit Ireland, I want it to be a memorable visit, such as Mary Trace, isn't it? Alcante down there, who studied in Cork, the university in Cork, and has great memories of our visit and really wants to come back to Ireland again. So I wish you well on your studies. I wish you well in the future, in whatever career that you embark in. I hope that the career that you choose, that you will remember the important relationship that is now about to develop between our two countries, Colombia and Ireland. Gurmila Magut, thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister, for your lecture. That brings us closer to the Ireland and European context. We invite now Ms. Alison Milton, Ambassador of Ireland in Colombia, and Ms. Patricia Cortes, Ambassador of Colombia in Ireland, to join the Minister for a panel that will be moderated by Laura Zavala, Professor of Europe in the Department of International Business at Universidad EAFIT.
Minister Breen, thank you so much for presenting such great commercial opportunities to explore between Colombia and Ireland in this new scenario of forging the relationship between Ireland and Colombia. For the panel, if you have any questions, Jason and Camilo are going to pass around the room with the question format. So please raise your hand, and then I will check with and arrange the questions we're going to present to the panel. Meanwhile, we're aware that the priorities for the Irish government in relation to the Brexit agreement are, of course, minimizing the impact on trade and the economy, protecting Northern Ireland peace process, maintaining the common travel area, and, of course, influencing the future of the EU. While the ratification of the withdrawal agreement is still the preferred outcome, they started the process of passing legislation preparing for a no deal. Because of Brexit, one of the Ireland's main objectives is to expand and diversify its presence in terms of trade and investment around the world. However, in terms of the implications of a no deal, many analysts believe that in this scenario, a physical border could not be avoided in the long term. What consequences will this have for Ireland?
First of all, can I say to you that Brexit is an English problem. It's not an Irish problem. I think that's important to point out. We worked really well with our partners, the UK, in Europe, in the European Union. We were really good allies within the European Union. And you know, trade between Ireland and the UK is extremely important for our indigenous industry. 1.3 billion worth of goods are traded each week between Ireland and England. And we want to ensure that that trade continues, even in the challenging environment in post-Brexit. We didn't want the UK to leave the European Union. And I'm sure if there was, you know, a decision made again in the future, it might be different. But the point is, we have a very divided political system in the UK at the moment. Britain is about to leave the European Union on the 29th of March. We believe that may not happen now because the Prime Minister this morning wrote to the European Commission in advance of tomorrow's European Council meeting seeking an extension till the 29th of May. That extension, you know, is something, I suppose, from Irish point of view, we welcome. But we just don't want to extend this unless Britain has something to offer. It took 2 years or more to negotiate the withdrawal agreement. And that withdrawal agreement was negotiated between the UK, the British government, and EU negotiators chaired by Michel Barnier. That took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of long hours, sweat in Brussels to bring that agreement in place. An agreement that would protect what's really important for all of us, and that's the border in Northern Ireland. Because our country is divided with 2 different jurisdictions, the 6 counties in the north, and the 26 which belong to the UK, and the 26 counties in the Republic. Before we joined the European Union in 1973, and before the Good Friday Agreement in particular, that was a real problem for us. The border, goods trading up and down under different restrictions, that was a real issue. And if Britain crashes out of the European Union without a deal in place, and that's why the backstop is in place, the withdrawal agreement, that means there'll be the imposition of tariffs and duties subject to the same duties as the WTO, the World Trade Organization. That'll bring devastation for a number of industries in Ireland, particularly the food industry, the agricultural industry in particular, because 37% of our beef and our food products go into the UK. And that's a lot of food going into the UK. And because of the fact, in the present situation, since the peace process came into place, there's no border in Northern Ireland, so some food, would say, can be produced in the north, it goes down. By the time the food is processed, it might go down to the south, it goes back up again, and it could be exported from the north, it could be exported from the south. So you have that two-way process. Can you just imagine a situation if there was a border between the 2 parts of Northern Ireland? It would be chaos. And that's why the Irish government was insisting that there'd be no hard border again. That's why the backstop is put into place. That's why it was agreed with the British government, but it was rejected by the House of Commons in the UK because of a divided political system. We don't know what the UK want. We're asking them, what do you want? And because they have voted in Parliament for 2 issues, they have voted to reject the withdrawal agreement. They have voted not to leave without a deal. Now we want to know what they want, but they're not telling us what they want. So it's a chaotic situation in the UK at the moment. It's funny, you know, when you go to the UK and you go to the City of London, which is almost an economy in its own, most of the young people working in the high-tech industries there, and most of London city people don't know why, can't understand why, you know, the UK want to leave the European Union, because the European Union has been good to the UK. So it's the uncertainty for us at home in Ireland that's causing the issue for many of our industries at the moment, particularly, as I said, in the food industry. We want certainty. We want to put an end to this to ensure one way or the other that Irish industry moves on. At the same time, we want to ensure that we have a good trading relationship with our partner, because that's extremely important to us. And part of what we've been doing to lessen our dependence on the UK is diversification. In other words, reducing the amount of exports we have into UK and opening up new markets, whether it's in Europe or in Latin America. And that's why we're preparing a Latin American strategy at home at the moment.
Okay, thank you so much. Ambassador Cortez, Ambassador Milton, thank you so much for joining us as well. At present, international trade between both countries is quite poor. Actually, 94% of Colombian exports are coal from the Cerrejón mine. So after this great first step of opening reciprocal embassies in both countries, what will be the next step in order to forge and make this relationship stronger?
Thank you for the invitation. And thank you for the question. It's really relevant. When we open the embassy in Dublin, of course, that shows the level of interest of Colombia and both Colombia and Ireland to deepen our engagement. When we talk about engagement, it's the whole economic portfolio, trade, investment, tourism, education, cultural links, of course, cooperation and sharing experiences on stabilization and in areas that have been key. And when I always start with the economic, because this is one of the areas that we are working very, very strongly in Dublin, of course, with ProColombia, with the relevant institutions. We are aware of the level of the trade, but as well of the opportunities. We have, Colombia has identified priority products in which, first of all, we have already the trade agreement. So that's the best thing, because we already have the framework. Second, we have, of course, to work together, and Minister Brain was very clear in the meetings that we have with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade on how to strengthen, and actually that will be a two-way, always winning trade. Priorities are, of course, for flowers, for example. Unfortunately, we can't find, it's difficult to find Colombian flowers in Ireland. This is one area that is identified. Coffee, it's, of course, this is an area, a traditional one, but of course with all the varieties and organic coffee that we are working, and there is a strong interest, and not even interest. It's amazing if you go to Ireland to see all the coffee culture now. It's really amazing. So there is a lot of interest. Our agricultural products, of course, products like are a part of our prosperity agenda, like avocado, in which of course is the involvement of the communities. So I think, first of all, there are a number of opportunities. We have to work together not only lack, let's say, we are facing, or what we try to face is the lack of awareness of what Colombia means in terms of opportunities, but we are doing that. I'm sure with the visit, of course, of Minister Brin, we are planning, it was mentioned during the meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs at a possible trade mission, who will be very important. Yesterday, Ambassador Alice Milton hosted a lunch with the key investors, and of course as well from both Colombia and Ireland, and it will of course ratify the importance of having that presence, working very strict in seeing the opportunities, and of course to see more products from Colombia in Ireland, and as well from Ireland to Colombia. At the end, it's always a winning. But I don't want to finish that saying that already the Irish investment in Colombia is is very important. Minister Breen mentioned on the Smurfit, the Irelandia, there is a strong interest on renewable areas. And at the end, we know what means investment in terms of job creation and tech, the tech opportunities. So I think we have to see like a whole like very comprehensive package on that. Thank you so much.
Yes, good morning everybody, and thank you so much for having this visit from Ireland here today. It's a real pleasure. Just to add to what Ambassador Cortes has said, and what the Minister has said, one thing we find, I think both myself and Ambassador Cortes as being ambassadors in the respective countries, is that there is a problem of awareness and also a small problem of reputation. And it seems so strange to me that when I come to Colombia and see the riches of this country, not just in terms of product, but also in terms of research, of science, of services, that over 90% of the exports from Colombia to Ireland are such a traditional product such as coal, carbon. So we really do need to work on that. I think people in Ireland aren't aware of the riches that Colombia can provide to Ireland. I think unfortunately Colombia is still struggling with losing this reputation of the past, of conflict, and I know Medellin in particular has done such an amazing job of changing its reputation, and I think myself and Ambassador Cortes now have the responsibility to ensure that story of putting the past behind Medellin reaches Ireland. So we will work very carefully on it. We will do everything we possibly can to expose the riches, the wonderful aspects that Colombia has to offer Ireland, to expose that in Ireland and to raise the awareness of that. But we do recognise that it's still a challenge, so that's what we'll work on.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions from the audience? Do we still have time? Because we had until 11.
No, we're okay.
Yes? 10 minutes. Okay. He has one question.
Sorry, we need to wait until we have the microphone in hand here. Sorry.
Can you hear me right now? All right, I have a question regarding precisely Irish competitiveness and its relationship with the European Union. I have been following up the rulings by Commissioner Vestager regarding Apple and Google and their activities in the European Union. And it always comes to mind that these companies have set up their European headquarters in Ireland. How does Ireland intend to proceed regarding these rulings?
Could you repeat the part of the ruling, please?
How does Ireland intend to proceed in regard Commissioner Vestager's rulings on competition and practices?
Yeah, can I say first of all, I suppose, Ireland is the home of many tech giants, and they're here. Before I answer your question, is the home of Apple's, Google's, Facebook's, Airbnb, and the whole lot. They're here for a number of reasons. They're here because, as I said, because of our favourable tax rate, 12.5%, and also because of the talent in the workforce, and that because we make it easier for these companies to attract in a multinational workforce. In Google alone, there's 70 different nationalities there. We believe the European Commission was wrong when they came to the ruling. We have a very open tax regime in Ireland. It's very transparent. There were some issues, but those issues have been dealt with, and that's why we are contesting the ruling at the courts in Europe. Everybody is and of course we believe that these companies do pay their fair of tax system. Many of these companies use Ireland as their European base. Some of them have their headquarters there as well, and we value their presence in Ireland. They're really important for a number of reasons. First of all, their presence there creates employment, but they also create a link up with the universities. They assist with small to medium enterprises as well, which is really important. But we have to wait the outcome of that ruling. We believe our tax system, as I said, is fair, it is transparent, And that tax system has been, where there were issues, we have changed that. And we don't see any reason whatsoever there. And that's why we intend to ensure that we can continue to attract companies into Ireland and grow their presence in the country. They're really important, particularly for the young, educated population that we have at the moment, because we have the youngest population in Europe. And those type of tech jobs are really important. And these are the type of jobs that we're attracting from foreign direct investors at the moment. Do you want to comment on that further, Ambassador? Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Can I also, just to answer that question as well, say that we conform to all the OECD obligations in relation to our tax system. So it is open, it is transparent, and our revenue commissioners take part in all international, they conform to all international best practice.
We might just say that you might be interested to hear that we are working on a collaboration between our tax authorities in Ireland and the DIAN here in Colombia, and it's about modernising the tax and customs system, and hopefully that can only be of benefit to Colombia.
Okay, Mr. Breen mentioned the affectations of the agricultural sector for Ireland because of Brexit. How could Colombia help balance these issues in terms of trade? Is the agricultural exchange between countries a long-term goal?
Well, first of all, I suppose I made a very significant, signed a very significant document here at the Foreign Ministry on Monday last, when I signed a memorandum of understanding between Chagas, which is the Irish Training Authority for Agriculture, and Agrosavio, which is the Colombian Training Authority. We believe we need to focus on a certain number of areas here in this, like agri-forestry, which is forestry is very important to Colombia here, and of course the fact that you have Smurfit Kappa here, who are a very important employer here. We believe we can even grow those links even further as Smurfit Kappa expand their operations here by having that agreement in place. We're also looking at agri-tech. Agri-tech is really important. I'm astonished myself when I see some of the agri-tech companies we have at home in Ireland. The technology being used is technology that will ensure that farmers in Ireland will farm in a more efficient and a more productive way to ensure that they make more money. We believe that we can export that technology here to Colombia to assist your farmers in their production as well. Farmers, like every other sector now at the moment, is a high-tech business. No more can you have subsistence farming, because subsistence farming doesn't work anymore. It's not productive. You can't make a living out of it. So that's why it's really important that farmers, no matter what size their farms are, have the technology, produce the maximum amount of crops, produce the best quality beef, best quality lamb, best quality pork, or whatever. And that's where technology comes into place. That's where R&D comes into place. And that's where Chagas and Agrosavio can work together in ensuring that agriculture develops in both jurisdictions. Remember, Ireland has a population of 5 million. We'll be producing up a food for 35 million people. So that means we have to have a good export market. And we have huge markets at the moment opened up all the time, whether it's in Asia, whether it's in Africa, Europe, North America, Canada, and now we're also looking at new markets into Latin America. That's why we're preparing the Latin American strategy, which will be really important. And that means that we can export agri-tech machinery, help farmers in Colombia, and of course in other areas as well, as I said, in agri-forest and in food area as well.
Okay, thank you. Another question we have, in terms of touristic opportunities between both countries, what actions are being analyzed to seize and improve this opportunity?
Thank you, and thank you for the question. Actually, I'll take the opportunity tomorrow in Dublin. It's the first time that Colombia is going to participate in one of the most important tourism events that the is taking place and organized by the Tourism Association of Ireland, and actually, of course, that brings tours operators and travel agencies and the industry. And Colombia is going to have a stand there. Colombia is there, of course, with the support of the embassy. It's I say it's the first time that we're going to have a presence there because there is a huge potential. Minister Allison, it's incredible how Irish love traveling, actually, and the best. I think we would really want to have a lot of tourists are actually from Ireland. Many young Irish are coming here, and every time that they come, particularly Medellin, I think they are the best in highlighting how great it is to come to Colombia. But of course, this is something that, given the opportunities and given the tourism is a priority in our government for the development, and as well, even in the sharing experiences, Ireland receives so many tourists, and given a small country that it is. So first of all, of course, we are having first-time presence. We have to work to have the ability. There are issues in there. We not only want Irish to come to Colombia, as well Colombians to go to Ireland, and I'm so glad the minister mentioned that the facilitation to go to because Colombians will love travel as well, and it will be a very important sector and an impact economic sector. When the Schengen visa was lifted to Colombians, the tourism to the Schengen countries doubled, and it has worked perfectly. So those are the type of things, I think, more promotion, being there, making sure we work on that.
Can I just add to that? Because I'm in a student environment at the moment in the third level institutions. What's really important for us, we have international visas that we issue for students to come to Ireland. But I would love to see a program where students from Colombia, and I know Ambassador Milton is going to work on that, we have it in other countries, where students could come to Ireland, work and study, and see the Irish countryside, study in our universities for a year. And I think most students will find when they come to Ireland, and because we're very successful at this, Ireland is a really good place to study and to work because of our high level of education, and because it's much cheaper to study in Ireland than it is in London or any other jurisdiction. That's why we have so many students from the Arab world, from Asia coming to Ireland. So I would like to see, because we have two embassies here now in both Ireland and in Colombia, I would like to see this initiative take off to encourage Colombian students, put an initiative in place for students like yourself to come to Ireland to work and study, so that when you go back to your own country again, you have a pleasant experience, and that experience, that education experience, that social experience that you have, you will be ambassadors for both countries, and I think that would be important as we build relationships as well. And maybe on a lighter note, could I say as well, many of our international students are students that come in from Ireland or from other countries to Ireland, sometimes go home with a partner, an Irish partner, to their countries again, and that's even a bigger advantage for us. So there are lots of nice girls and boys in Ireland that may wish to link up with girls and boys in Colombia as well, and there's always a romantic side to all these things.
Thank you so much, of course.
Yes, Minister. Well, now from the International Relations Office, we are working on an exploratory mission to Ireland to be able to open new relations with universities, so you can have different programs to apply and different exchanges. So bear that in mind. And just for you to know, the current consul in Ireland, the Colombian consul in Ireland, is one of our alumni, Andres Echeverri. He studied international business here at EAFIT. So now he's helping us with this this exploratory mission, and he's working with Ambassador Cortés in the diplomatic mission to help us strengthen the relations with Ireland. So that's also something for you to bear in mind, that international relations students have this protection and this impact in our relations with Europe. So now we want to thank very much the minister, ambassadors, the professor for this debate. We extend our gratitude to the diplomatic delegation for the opportunity to learn more about Ireland's context and its projections in a post-Brexit era. Also for the opportunity to identify future collaborations with our university, EAFIT. We thank the audience for having accompanied us in this lecture and debate. Thank you very much for your company, and we hope to have your presence in the next opportunity. So please, an applause for them. Thank you.